From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Now at 11, tens of thousands of people hitting the streets across the Bay Area today, rallying against the Trump administration at the second No Kings Day protest.
I'm enraged and I'm terrified at what's happening. I feel like we're on a rocket sled to a dictatorship.
We'll also hear from the other side. California's GOP chair weighs in along with supporters of the president who say the whole thing is a big nothing. Then tens of thousands of Kaiser healthcare workers end their 5-day work stoppage as they head back to the bargaining table.
We want to get back to seeing our patients. Kaiser was asking us to do more and more with less and less.
Good evening, I'm Andrea Nakano. Brian has the night off. Organizers estimate there were more than 2,500 protests across the country. Here in the Bay Area, tens of thousands of people made their voices heard in defiance of President Trump and various policies of his administration. In the North Bay, a good turnout in Santa Rosa this afternoon, people marching from the junior college campus to Doyle Park. Thousands of people waving signs and flags, even a few dressing up in costumes. And similar scenes along Broadway Plaza in Walnut Creek, dozens of people marching with signs calling for an end to ICE enforcement Medicaid cuts and more. Organizers estimate nearly 10,000 people came out to St. James Park in San Jose for today's demonstration. Same place as the first No Kings protest. This one, like all the others, remained peaceful with no reports of any serious incidents. And the largest demonstration in the Bay Area today was in San Francisco. Roughly 50,000 people marched down Market Street this afternoon. It started at 2 at Sue Bierman Park along the Embarcadero. Protesters then marched down Market Street to the Civic Center Plaza for a rally at around 3:30. Protesters say they're fed up with Trump policies and they believe they're moving the country backwards. Dahlin has more.
A massive show of resistance to the Trump administration. Among the thousands of demonstrators marching down Market Street is the single mom, Anna, and her 4-year-old daughter.
It's hard to believe that we have to march at these times. We are in 2025 marching for human rights.
Anna opposes all of President Trump's policies, but says she's especially angered by the immigration crackdown that's defined the start of his second term.
A lot of families have been ripped apart, and that is one of my biggest fears, to be living in this country as a mother, as an immigrant mother. This country is nothing without immigrants. I want people to be out and fight for immigrants.
No fear! Immigrants are welcome here!
Demonstrators held signs reading "Resist" and "No Dictators," condemning a president they see as acting like a king.
I'm enraged and I'm terrified at what's happening. I feel like we're on a rocket sled to a dictatorship. Very angry and scared.
Donald Trump has got to go!
Demonstrators push back on claims from Trump supporters that these rallies are anti-America.
You can't have millions and millions of Americans out on the streets across this country and think that we're Antifa. We are grandmothers, we are everyday people who are saying we will fight for our democracy.
One of the organizers, Indivisible SF, believes a united front can make a difference and send a strong message to lawmakers.
We will not put up with all these abuses of power, with snatching people off the street, which ICE is doing, with cutting our health care.
Organizers say it's hard to pin down an exact number of participants from the Ferry Building to Civic Center Plaza, but estimate thousands turned out, possibly even more than the first No Kings March back in June. Anna says the more people who show up, the louder the message.
I hope that she one day looks back and says, my mom did something. She fought for me, she fought for my future.
A lot of families, seniors, and people from all walks of life at the demonstration. San Francisco police say it was peaceful, no major issues to report.
Also in San Francisco, protesters formed 2 messages along Ocean Beach. No Kings and yes on 50, the ballot measure to redistrict California's congressional seats in response to President Trump and Republicans doing a similar tactic in Texas. Meanwhile, across the Bay, thousands of protesters gathered in Oakland as a show of resistance against the Trump administration and their deployment of the National Guard troops in Democrat-led cities. That march started in Wilmot Park and continued through to the Lake Merritt Amphitheater. It comes as city officials say they are preparing for a possible troop deployment. Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee says these protests are both necessary and patriotic.
We believe in our First Amendment rights, and we're going to continue to march and speak out and say no to any military occupation.
Organizers say the protest ended without any incidents in Oakland. Well, Trump supporters held a counter-protest in Santa Clara Central Park. They took to the streets to call out No Kings protesters and argue against California's redistricting plan.
The only person trying to be a king is Gavin Newsom by trying to pass Prop 50.
You know, there's no king. We don't want king. We have a president, and he was duly elected by the people.
Things did get a little heated with a few shoves and close confrontations between them and No King protesters. California Republicans are pushing back on the assertion that Donald Trump is acting like a king. We spoke to the chairwoman of the California Republican Party earlier, who points to the results of the last election as proof that democracy is safe.
It's clear that we don't have a kingdom here in the United States because people voted. We've had President Trump, we had President Biden, we have President Trump again. And that's all because of the will of the voters. You don't save democracy, you don't strengthen democracy by disrespecting the will of the voters.
Rankin also blasted redistricting efforts in California, saying that our current Citizens Redistricting Commission allows the state to maintain its independence. An estimated 7 million people came out from coast to coast for the No Kings Day protest. The biggest turnouts were in places like New York City, Washington, D.C., Chicago, and L.A., but we saw big crowds pretty much everywhere in blue cities like Minneapolis, Denver, but also in some deep red areas like Dallas, Atlanta, Charlotte, North Carolina, just to name a few. Now, there were very few reports of any clashes with police or other kinds of incidents at today's rally. President Trump responded to the action taken nationwide through social media. He posted this AI-generated video on Truth Social where he flies in a fighter jet wearing a crown and appears to be dumping feces on protesters around the country. Well, other news tonight, and in just a few hours, the latest Kaiser Permanente worker strike will come to an end. More than 30,000 nurses and healthcare workers and professionals across California and Hawaii have been picketing for nearly a week. They are asking for solutions to unsafe staffing and wage inequalities. Amanda Harry has more.
5 days of picketing and striking are coming to an end. Kaiser Permanente physician's assistant Arzu Mansourian is hoping it's enough to move negotiations forward.
Kaiser was asking us to do more and more with less and less.
That's why Mansourian was part of the organizing committee to unionize. Many Kaiser employees unionized years ago, but the PAs, nurse anesthetists, and midwives were some of the groups that were not union. In July of 2023, they joined the United Healthcare Professionals, and for nearly 2 years, they've been bargaining.
This is our first contract, and they are making it difficult.
They say Kaiser's proposals aren't getting them to the going rate. And over the last 8 years, they've only received 1% to 2% raises annually. Not enough to keep up with the cost of living.
Kaiser has said in the news over and over that, well, we're offering 21.5% of a raise over 4 years. Well, if I break that down, it's 6.5 the first year, 6.5 the second, and some 2s and 3s the next years after that. Well, we are paid as PAs 30 to 40% under market. This is not okay.
Mansourian says many Bay Area hospitals pay significantly more, making it hard to hire people and impacting the morale of the people who do work there.
If we had more PAs, we'd be able to see people in a more time-efficient way. We'd also be able to spend longer with patients. Kaiser has a bad reputation for really trying to shorten their visits, and that's been a frustrating thing. The more patients they add on us, the less time we have to see for patients.
It pains her to see how this is affecting patients. This week, many patients had their appointments canceled because of the strike. Employees will go back to their scheduled shifts starting Sunday at 7 a.m. During the strike, Kaiser and the union agreed to resume bargaining on Wednesday. In a statement, Kaiser said, quote, "The focus will be on economic issues. While the alliance has publicly emphasized staffing and other concerns, wages are the reason for the strike and the primary issue in negotiations. We remain committed to reaching an agreement that provides strong wage increases and enhances high-value medical plans and retiree benefits, while balancing our obligations to deliver high-quality care that remains affordable. Mansourian hopes that's true because she doesn't want to see the public continue to suffer.
We want to get back to seeing our patients. We don't take going on a strike lightly. We don't like seeing that patient care gets delayed, but we know it's actually for the best of patients. We know that on the other side, when we have a good contract, that will help patients get more timely access to us.
Well, still ahead tonight at 11, how a Bay Area immigrant used her love of food and pets to build a community in her new home. And the 49ers play in prime time tomorrow, but who will be on the field as they face the Falcons? More on the big offensive weapon set to make his return for Sunday Night Football.
And coming up in tonight's forecast, we are doubling down on the notion of late summer. Low 80s inland, plenty of sunshine. That's the day. Look what the night's doing. That is marine layer. This is going to turn into fog in the morning. I mean, it's going to look like June around here tomorrow morning in the middle of October. Show you what this means for daytime highs. And then, yes, we have to talk about rain. That's coming back to you by the end of the forecast. Coming up.